Can you hear us now?
Yeah, folks, before we begin the meeting, if you're here tonight to speak on behalf or against one of the items on the agenda, please sign in. And I think you also have a general sign-in sheet just that you're here for the meeting, okay? And you can see our director, Mohammed Hussein, for that sign-in sheet.
You're gonna have to use the CD. So.
Is everything you sign it?
Good evening. I'm going to call this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission for June 9, 2022 to order at 6 p.m. sharp. Good evening, everybody. How are you tonight? We're going to try and hear as many people as we can tonight, and hopefully you'll have the opportunity to state your case and ask questions and do what you feel you need to do to preserve your place in our beautiful town. Okay? So with that being said, can you have the roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Ortiz,
Present.
Commissioner Chavez. Present. Commissioner Martinez,
Present.
Commissioner Chair Trujillo,
Present.
Commissioner Salazar,
Present.
Commissioner Glenn.
She was not going to be able to catch him because she was going to be in the airport, so.
Commissioner Borrego,
Present.
we have a quorum.
Great. So with that, will we please rise for the pledge of allegiance?
Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So you have before you tonight, folks, the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Okay, we have a first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So at this point, we are going to hear public comments from visitors and citizens. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Who has signed up for public comments?
I think Mr. Valdez.
Mr. Pedro Valdez? Please come and state your name, Mr. Valdez. You tell me when you want me to pass out these photographs that you left with me.
Yes, would you please pass them on? There was an important message sent out to the city citizens quite some time ago, probably 2.5 years. And for 2.5 years, I've been coming to the planning and zoning department and to check on this neighbor that we have that has been putting stuff without permits, and it shows on the pictures that I passed out. And he doesn't have any permits. He doesn't have permits to put a fence right by the sidewalk, almost on the street itself. Accessory as structures, he's put a lot of structures that shouldn't be there, and it's for the safety, even for the fire department. And it's under the nuisance violation within the city. And what I want to do is read from chapter 254 on nuisance. This is accumulation of rubbish, trash, refuge, litter, junk, and other abundant materials, metal, lumber, and other things. Any condition which provides harboring for rats, mice, snakes, and other vermins. And it's on chapter 254, the nuisance. And it also reads on this is 2254-1 definition is injuries and dangers, the comfort and repose, health and safety for others. Offense, decency is offensive to the senses, unlawfully interferes with obstructions, intends to obstruct, to render dangerous for passage any public and private street, highway, sidewalk, stream, ditch, or drainage. And F essentially interferes with the comfortable enjoyment of life and property or tends to depreciate the value of the property of others. Which I'm fixing, you can see some pictures there that I passed out, is how this property, when the Romeros owned it, we had a sidewalk on the north side of the street, all the way on Barbie Street. And it tends to this person of installing all this stuff on the sidewalk and mostly on the street also. And it also shows even on the inside of his property, it's very trashy and everything. And it's bad for fire. I have a house next door to it and across. And if there's ever a fire, my property would be in there. On that chapter is planning and zoning administration hasn't done anything. The fire department, sometimes they pass through there. They haven't been able to go across on Calle La Boca. They'd have to back all the way down Barbie Street just to get, or back up into my property, which is big enough for the fire engine to back up. The same thing for the Hemis Co-op truck, big truck. You can see some of the pictures there that they couldn't get across because he even works on his truck and his car on the middle of the road. Sometimes I have to go out there and knock on his doors to tell him to take the cars out of the way because nobody can pass through. But you'll see that in the pictures. I've been bringing for 2.5 years. I've been bringing these pictures to the department, and they haven't given me an answer. But I don't know if it's because they changed directors for the past 2 years, probably 2 or 3 directors. So it's kind of hard. But all I ask is that for them to do something about that. If he needs a permit to put a fence on the sidewalk on the street, I'll get that permit. So it's okay with me if he does that. I know that whenever I do anything in my houses or my properties, I always come for a permit. And I think he should do the same, so I just want to bring that up to your attention.
Okay, Valdez, thank you, and our director, I would ask that you please have our code enforcement officer newly hired to check into this situation and see if we have any nuisance laws that are being broken and what type of public safety issues this person's creating, like the congestion right along the street. And Peter, we will get back to you, this will not go on 2.5 years without being addressed.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I should,
Yes.
Mr. Valdez, where
Yes.
exactly is this place located at?
This is on 1011 Barbie Street. And my properties are 1007, so 1009.
Is that in the San Pedro?
No, in the Espinal, here on the west side. Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Valdez, it looks like you have two concerns from what I was hearing. One was that there's a nuisance, a safety issue, and the other one is that you'd be all right with that if he was to obtain a permit to be able to do what he's doing?
If you can get permits or
Because if
something
he's a
like that.
nuisance and is creating a safety problem, an issue, I don't know that a permit's gonna help her out.
Well, it's also the value of my properties.
Right.
Right now, my son passed away 2017,
Right.
and we're fixing his house to sell.
So basically, what you'd rather have is that he comply with whatever the ordinance
Yes,
for nuisance is, right?
yes.
Okay, just wanted to make that clear.
Any other commissioners?
Yeah, Mr. Valdez, is he selling these goods? There's quite a few things here.
No, it's just that he's putting stuff more and more, and it's already, he had it up to the sidewalk, now he's almost in the street. And I don't know why, he's
He's just piling things.
just piling things up.
I was just wondering if he's trying to sell these items.
No.
Any other commissioners? Yes.
So I had a chance to go look at it. And personally, my point of view, and then I sent the code enforcement officer there too. But I had to check, so what we're doing in the background, we're checking, because not all the street has a sidewalk. This is an old part of the town. But one house has made a sidewalk, and it has not. So we have to check if there is a survey to what extent the parcel boundaries are. If it's within the parcel boundaries, the things that he has, he's planted the plants, the flower plants, the pots. So that could not come under, if it's within their property, that could not come under because that's under the nuisance, because this is just the flowering plants that he's planted.
It's,
Yes.
we even went to the county to get a description that one of your directors at one time asked to see about his property, how far this property goes. And we got from the county, we got the description of the properties and everything. You guys didn't do it, but we did it. We went, and he is in city property. And that sidewalk is all the way from the bottom of Barbie Street all the way to the top. There's some people that have not installed their sidewalk, but there is a 24-inch, 2 feet portion that is a sidewalk. It's supposed to be a sidewalk.
So we'll check into that.
But if you
Can I-
need, from the county,
Can I suggest something here?
Yes.
So I think it would be best to bring our new director up to speed on this issue. And again, I asked our director to get the code enforcement officer involved. Let's make sure that if this gentleman's within his rights and he's on his property, so be it. But if he's not and he's encroaching on the public right of way, then that's probably gonna be an issue, okay? And I would, Mohammed, I hope would you please get his contact information so you can get a hold of him? And then see if we can get him in to meet with you on this subject.
Sure.
appreciate it.
That's just,
Thank you.
anybody else in the public wishes to speak before us?
I'm just taking this over.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
With that being said, close the public comments.
Oh, you good.
Oh, I'm sorry, is there something back there? I can't see it. You
I'm
were
a
just-
little confused, is it in regards to that topic or just in general?
Just in general, we haven't opened the public hearings yet for any of the agenda of public hearing items. This is just if you have any general comments you want to speak to us about, you're welcome to come forward to the podium and speak to us about general comments. You have 3 minutes.
It's something that's on the agenda, so,
Sure.
thank you.
Anybody else from the public who just wishes to speak to us or for us on general topics? Okay, well, thank you very much. Director, do we have any items tabled from the prior meeting we need to address tonight?
We do not.
Then we will go into the items for consideration and new business. And this will be where we now open up our public hearings. And I'm gonna read a statement to you folks so you understand how this process is going to go. Where's the baby coming from? Oh, right there, that's the pump lady, okay. The following cases are quasi judicial in nature, and the hearing will be conducted under provisions required by the New Mexico Court of Appeals. This includes the identification of parties and the swearing in of all those who wish to provide testimony. The opportunity of cross-examination to ask questions will be provided to all parties, okay? So our first public hearing is public hearing 20-22-9. So we will now open the public hearing for 2022-9. And it is the plat approval request by Sonia Del Santos. Applicant is requesting restatement of Marty's Meadows subdivision plat. Now, before we begin hearing the presentation from staff and from the applicant, I'm going to swear you in, Mohammed, and this will be for all cases tonight, so you don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over again, okay? So, do you swear? Let's see here. Let's see. Let's just make sure. Do you swear to affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth for all cases tonight?
I do.
Okay. So now, Sonia, you're on Zoom with us, correct? You can hear me? Do you swear to affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth? Okay. So at first, we are going to hear from staff. So Mohammed, please. Mohammed, excuse me 1 second before we begin. Let me ask the commissioners if you would like to disclose any nature of communications that would be a conflict of interest or ex parte communication with anybody. No? Okay, thank you.
Excuse me,
Yes,
I don't see anybody's name, so I'm not familiar with all of you. I'm new to the,
so we have nameplates being ordered, but to clarify that, we'll introduce ourselves.
Ross Chavez.
okay,
JD Martinez.
all right,
Roland Borrego.
Jose Trujillo, please call me JR.
okay,
Adriana Ortiz.
Joe Salazar.
thank you.
Okay. So staff, would you like to begin?
Robert, I'll bring that, go to the next one first, next week. Good evening, honorable member of the planning commission and Mr.